Angelina Jolie is here. She is an actress, she is a director, she is a mother, she is a humanitarian with an Academy Award and looks that have led someone like director Clint Eastwood to call her the most gorgeous face on the planet. She is free to do whatever she wants. What she chose to do is to focus on film and family and helping others. She has now written and directed a film for the first time. It is called In the Land of Blood and Honey. Here is the trailer.
Remember how things were before the battles? Just you and me. I thought of you every day. Why couldn't you be born a Serb?
Am I a prisoner?
You're not a prisoner if you want to be here.
Love is so terrible, we should be exterminated.
Out with your hands in the air! Or we will kill these women!
It's very complicated. One of your Muslim friends was in my scope. And I thought about you. And then I wondered, would she kill me if she had the chance?
She will betray you. She's not to be trusted.
Should I trust you?
Did I make a mistake?
No.
I think I did.
People are not often what they seem to be.
Then I have nothing to fear.
I am pleased to have Angelina Jolie back at this table. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to be back.
You said here, this is the cover of Vanity Fair. You talk about, I've never felt so exposed. How does directing make you feel so exposed?
Well, it's the writing as well. I've spent my whole life with somebody else's words in my mouth.
Yeah.
When it comes to film, and now these are my words, and it's I can't blame anything on the director or the final edit. It's all me, and I feel very, very responsible. It's also it's not my politics, but it's because it's not a political movie, but it does have politics in it, and it is the side of politics and the side of the world that I focus on and I care about, and so it is very much me. It is the project that is the most me and where my heart is, and so it is very exposing.
And why is that? Why is it the thing that's the most closest to you in your heart and when you look at the world today?
Well, I've had the good fortune of being allowed to travel the last 10 years and to work with people in the field and to go to many different places, and I've had an education that has shaped my life, and from the first time to Cambodia to my first war zone in Sierra Leone, and I've been allowed to spend time and really, really get to know people in post-conflict situations and conflict situations, and something that I don't get to do as an actress, and I feel very lucky that they allowed me and trusted me to kind of enter this world.
It does give you a sense to see, you know, to understand what the rest of the world's like, and that there are people who are involved in circumstances not of their own making that have brought a huge amount of suffering.
Yes. And it's the majority of the world suffers in such a
Where
way.
Was there something that put you on that track of being curious and wanting to know and wanting to go for yourself and see what was happening?
Yes. When I started to travel, I started to quickly realize how much I didn't know. When I went to Cambodia, I was shocked at how much I didn't know, and then when I started to research and you know, you open your mind and you realize how much there is that you are sheltered from, especially if you're growing up in America. You have there are wonderful news programs like your own, and there's so much, but there's a lot and Bosnia is a perfect example of it. We went through years of this war really not being told what was going on. No matter how strongly the reporters were fighting to get the information out, we were not pushed and inspired in a way. The American people did not understand the full gravity of what was actually happening
and what was at stake,
and
the consequences of not acting.
That's right.
The whole sense that was said, history will judge badly if we look the other way.
But we did.
But we did, until finally we came to a realization that we had to change.
Yes.
This film. So you set about to go there and to write it and write a story. What was the story you wanted to write? Because you have a love story here, but you also have a broader story about a place and a time and all those emotions that are part of that.
I didn't intend on making a movie. I didn't intend on ever directing. I just sat down as kind of a meditation. I'd written journals or op-eds and thought, well, I work in film, maybe this is a way of kind of expressing a narrative. I was very frustrated with lack of intervention. I was very frustrated to try to understand so many people I met. I thought, oh, if we could just have gotten there sooner, this wouldn't have happened. If we could have just, what can we do? And so I wanted to write a story that would show people that as you're watching it, you're sitting there hoping for something to stop this. And you're watching all these different people, sisters and mothers, fathers, fathers and sons, children, and you're watching all these human beings, and human beings you can relate to, I hope. And you watch what happens to them over the course of these years and how decent, relatable people become people you cannot understand, and so primal and so violent, and so and neighbors kill each other, and people are forever damaged, and how does that happen? And so I would hope it would bring out the responsibility to remember Bosnia, learn from it, and understand the importance of intervention.
Tell me the storyline.
The storyline is it starts with sisters and this couple, and it starts with Bosnia before the war. And we tried to show in a very tight period of time, but we tried to show the life of this part of the world. Former Yugoslavia is such an extraordinarily special part of the world. The artistry, the music, the life. So we wanted to show that. And then in a moment, the war starts. And then months later, and not even months later, immediately it escalated, and very quickly people started to get pulled apart. And it was, I think what people will see in it is that the Serbian army was it wasn't a haphazard kind of, it was a very organized army, and it was very quickly, people were quickly divided, and there was
genocide.
And there was genocide, and it happened systematically and quickly, and then during the course of the war, all sides took part. There are 161 people, in the ICTY. There are 160 now after suicide, and they're not all Serbian. They're mostly Serbian. There are people from all sides. What happened to this people that lived as one, these people that intermarried, these people that loved each other and were neighbors? What happened, and what does war do to people? So it's universal. It's happening today. It's happening today around the world.
Can film, do you have some sense of what the power of film might be? Yeah.
I hope with this film that it isn't just a reminder of this time in history, but I hope also I hope people get to know this part of the world, and they get to know people from this part of the world, and they relate to them, and they feel a kinship to them, because I think that's important. And film can do, I think, that we can send strong messages. But this film in particular, I wanted people to relate and feel and care and connect. And I think these actors are so extraordinary that I think people will do that.
Many actors from the region.
All actors are from the region, and they're all from opposite sides of the conflict. And that was part of the thought behind it. I wrote the script and I sent it to actors from Serbia, from Belgrade, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnian Serbs, Bosnian Muslims, and I thought if I can get all of them to agree on one story, and we can all agree to do this together, then that in itself will be something. And they did, and they came together as a family, and that is so symbolic of what we all hope for the future of that region.
Since you hadn't done this, and because this is such a powerful subject, and because people understand all the pain that's been suffered there, what was your confirming or ratifying person who said, when you're out there and you're swimming alone and you're in the deep end, you know, and you're trying to write a script for the first time, who said to you, "This is good, keep going, keep going"?
I didn't show it to anybody for a long time.
Not Brad? No.
I eventually showed it to Brad because it was sitting on my desk, and it was this kind of funny project that I was working on that nobody saw.
Yes.
So I sent it with him. He had to do 2 days of press in Japan, and he wrote me an email from Japan and said, I sat up and read your script, and I finished it, and it's pretty good, honey. You should, you know.
Should be proud.
Yeah, he said it's, you know, he was very supportive. But I don't think it crossed either one of our minds that it was then still going to become an actual film. It's still strange for me it's an actual film.
Why is that?
Because I never sat down and said I want to be a director and I want to be a filmmaker or a writer. I didn't.
You had a story you wanted to tell.
I just had a story I wanted to tell, and I had this great excuse in making a movie was my chance to learn about a region and befriend people from the area and have this experience. So it was my great life lesson that I could have this education, have this time, and I love the experience of it, and I love this cast, and I learned so much, and in the process it became a film. But I'm still very shy about being a filmmaker. That wasn't the intention.
Did you at any point say, "My God, I've made a mistake. This is too in over my head"? And
yeah, I
and,
did.
and how do you get up in the morning and say, "No, I'm going to do another day"?
Because the cast, as I said, they're from because
they wanted to see it happen.
Because they wanted to see it happen, because they said it was important, and because they lived in. So if I felt the tension, you know, they have to confront. They take this movie back to their own countries, and they stand by it, and they have to feel that it is. So they're brave enough to try for something. Then who am I not to stand with them? And they always. And I felt that they were always guiding me. If I said, I'm worried, are we getting this right? Are we balancing this right? I knew I had to ask that question every day. And every day I was worried. And every day I would make sure we were trying to find the balance, and we were trying to find the balance. And I was never sure we did, but I knew always that my intention was in the right place. And the cast said, you know, even when we had complications, and you know this region so well, they said, well, you know, welcome to the region. Exactly. There's no way you're going to skate through this without controversy and a lot of pressure and sensitivity. And this is a complicated, deeply passionate part of the world, and it's going to be heavy, but it's
but you feel like that about several parts of the world. I mean, you feel that way about Cambodia, you feel that way certainly about parts of Africa, you feel that way about the United States. You know, I mean, what you have represented, and I guess your UN affiliation is part of that, is in a sense becoming a citizen of the world, becoming someone, you know, who understands that we are in fact one.
We are, yes.
You know? What is that in you, that this sense of always, this is as long as I've known you, when you first sat at this table so many years ago, and the respect that we've had, it is the sense that there's somehow something about you that is prepared to find out on your own what some experience is about. You want to know for yourself what it's like.
I do. I think I think we all do. I've been so fortunate that as I said, I was able to. I had a mother that told me, you know, she loved me and encouraged me to try anything. And when I've had a chance to be able to go to these countries and travel the world, and as I said, I've been allowed in. And people who work on these issues in the field, I was very shy when I first started to go to the field. I didn't want to get anybody's way. These Doctors Without Borders, UN workers, I don't want to get anybody's way. I don't want to be, I didn't know what to do or how to find my footing.
And you want to be perceived as some movie star who's dropping in and
and I didn't want to put a negative spin on their work. I didn't want to attach. I didn't want them to be, attached to somebody that then made their work seem less serious. So I was always, but they always welcomed me and taught me and educated me, and I'm so grateful for all the people, whether it be American military men or UN officials or refugees or people like yourself who were willing to talk to me and give me that education and talk to me straight and talk to me as an adult and not. And allow me to learn, and so I continue to try to learn.
I also believe, this is me being a psychologist, I also believe that who you are, this sense of adventure that you had, in the sense of you would let no one define who you were in your public or private conduct. That's been an engine for you that served you well and continues to serve you well.
Thank you.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think
it's a wildness, it's an adventure, it's a sense of this is who I am, and I'll channel this in lots of different ways.
And maybe it's that little punk in me that still feels like you can all come against me, but I'm going to fight for what I believe is right, even if we're going to get into it, and it's going to. So yes. Others
also ask about you, and you've heard this before, how does she do it all? How does she be an actress, an international celebrity, a humanitarian, and now a filmmaker, and most importantly, a companion and a mother? How do you do all that? What's the...
I have a great partner in Brad.
Right.
And we talked a long time ago about how to balance this life and knowing the dangers of working in this field, in this business, and just the stresses of normal life anyway. But we made a decision that we would always take turns working, that we would always travel with each other, that we would never separate for months while one of us is having an experience, an adventure, and being away from the children, and the other one is sitting at home with the children. We decided the only way we're going to be able to do this with this many children, and we have the good fortune to be able to make this choice in our career, is that we stay together and we experience life together and we raise these children together. And so we're in New York together with the children.
We're here for your movie, but the kids are here celebrating as well.
When I shot this film, I was with him when he shot Moneyball, and then it was over, and then we all moved together to shoot in the Land of Blood and Honey, and he then would bring the kids to set, and we just. So I don't do it all the time. I do some things part of the time, and the other part of the time I'm just at home being a mom. And then for 6 months or however many months I go to work, but I've got a great man who helps me and supports me, and the children are part of my work.
Are your ambitions changing at all?
My ambition has always been to be of use and to feel like I'm doing the right things with my life, like most people. I think I don't want to be more successful. I don't want more money. I don't want... I want my kids to be healthy, and I want to have a great family, and I want them to be great people. That's my ambition. And along the way, if I can be a part of things in life that I think are important and subject matters that I think are important, or even be a part sometimes of the solution for these big issues that concern me, and then that's wonderful, and then that makes me feel of value. But first, I want to make sure I'm raising the children right.
Do you think that this is the first step in becoming what everybody calls a filmmaker? That you will find something in this process that you want to be able to, as the aforementioned Clint Eastwood is, and several other people, have uniquely been able to master this in a way that they can tell their own stories, that they can become truly, a filmmaker in every sense of the word. Are you heading that direction, you think? Or is it too early to tell about any of that?
I'm shy to even call myself a filmmaker now. I'm proud of the film, but I don't. I did this because I love this subject matter, and I felt compelled to do it as a human being, not as a filmmaker. And I ended up as a filmmaker because of it. So I don't know if I'll end up feeling that compelled to tell a story in that way. And again, you'll meet some of them, as you already have, the cast. this was such an unusual situation for me. I met these actors and this family, and they pulled me through this story, and they all lived through the war, and some of them were soldiers during the war, some of them were children during the war, they were wounded during the war, they taught me, and they led me through this, and we did this together. So it's a family that made this film. It's not me.
We continue our discussion of In the Land of Blood and Honey with director Angelina Jolie and two members of the cast, Zana Marjanovic and Rade Srbeđa. I am pleased to have them here at this table to join this conversation. Let me, first of all, tell me about the characters they play.
Oh, me tell their characters? Uh-oh.
Yeah, Madam Director.
Can they tell their characters? Well, they are at opposites in the film. She is a Bosnian Muslim woman who's an artist,
yes,
who is involved with a man before the war starts, who's a Bosnian Serb. How am I doing?
Yes, so good so far. Yes,
and they have love for each other, and the war breaks out, and the politics of the war affect their relationship and their family's relationships, and directly is affected by, most of all, the father of the man, Daniel, who is the lover of her character, and the son of his character.
Nebojša he's Serbian. He's one of the leaders in Serbian army, in Bosnian Serbian army. He is, let's say, very traditional, authoritarian person, obsessed with history, with mythology and past. And he's the one I knew and I met in my country. Some of them were my friends, and I never thought they will finish, in the war like leaders, like soldiers, like,
I'm going to go back and forth in this conversation between this film and at the same time your own experiences. How did the war affect you? What was your connection to the war? You?
With this war,
yes.
At that time I was born Serbian from Croatia,
Right.
But at that time I moved from Zagreb just a year before war started to Belgrade. Fall in love there with my wife, Lenka.
Yes, good.
And when war started, I was, I can say, one of the very well-known actors in my country. And I tried to join people who wanted to stop the war, who were fighting against nationalists from all sides in former Yugoslavia. At the end, I'm a person who was supporting one great guy, Markovic, who was the last premier of Yugoslavia.
Right.
And he wanted, to organize his party and to somehow to stop the war, And then because of this fact that I didn't want to take any side in this war, I became enemy for many of nationalists or normal people, who were divided in this war, and I had to leave my country.
And you?
I was 8 when Rade was in front of the parliament and trying to stop the war and get as many people as possible to fight against the beginning of the war. And interestingly enough, we included a song by EKV, which is probably the most known Serbian band at the time, and it's by them the first song in the film is made by this band, and that particular song was sang at a UTEL concert, which was a concert to stop the war in Bosnia, which is so interesting because it was a Serbian band that sang in Sarajevo at the beginning of the war, trying to stop the war. We have Rade at the front of the parliament, and it was just so, art is such an important way, and we try to fight it through that, and here we are sitting again trying to do a similar thing.
And the fact that this film has been made meant what to you? This story by this, you know, but Angelina came with a script and came to direct a film that involved you. What does it mean? What was the sense of your feeling about the opportunity?
Well, I think it's so important. It was phenomenal. First of all, the script, and as objective as I can be, I think the film as well, and I just think it's something that surpasses even the film itself as a form. It's something that will explain, that will tell people that don't know really what happened in Sarajevo, because I grew up here, and when I was 18, I had this crazy idea that my senior year, in the middle of it, so not even finishing the semester, I decided to move back to Bosnia. And let me tell you, I had an accent in Bosnian with like a bit of an American vowels, and everyone was going kind of like, what are you doing? And my teacher wrote the reason for leaving the school was, and I still have the paper, moving to Syria, because I said I was moving back to Sarajevo. So I think it's very, very important that this film is made, and it's important also for us, because I feel this is maybe even the first time that the Bosnian people have been given the opportunity to let the world know what really happened, at the same time keeping their dignity, which we did have during the war.
One of the first, actually, from my country, Angelina sent in a script. Yeah. And before that, I must tell you that I had few offers to play in films, American films about Bosnian War. I never accepted. I didn't want to do this.
What was it about this one? Was it her, or was it the script, or was it?
Of course, script. I love Angelina as an actress.
Yes, I know.
But it was script.
Yeah.
When she sent me this, I really fall in love with this beautiful story. I think she reached, I like to say, she reached some depth of Greek tragedy with this story. And it's amazing. But somehow, I was the only one who didn't see film till yesterday night.
Is that right? You hadn't
seen
it?
His wife saw it, so I went to her.
And
she would be the defining.
I must say, I was really impressed. I loved so much film, and I
as
was
objective as you can be.
I was so emotional. You know, yesterday I must say that Angelina did a really fantastic modern film, great film. Without pathetic things, you know.
Without pedantic, not teaching.
Pathetic.
Oh, pathetic.
Pathetic, yes.
Yeah. And,
so
and
simple.
what do you expect to be the reaction? I mean, beyond the fact that a good movie, but what will be the reaction in
I don't know,
Serbia?
But actually I don't care. You know what? Probably there were, absolutely there will be some nationalists who will not love this, you know. Who already started to write bad things about this project, you know.
Well, there are people that deny it even happened. There are people that deny the Holocaust,
I'm sure
deny the war.
that a lot of people will understand this film and will love this film, as we noticed yesterday.
And there are wonderful Serbian actors from Belgrade, Serbia, in this film, who are known and loved in their country. And there's, I think, a lot of the people of their country will know that, and have faith in them, that they wouldn't be a part of something that they didn't feel was balanced.
Did you get the same kind of response from all the actors you sought out that when they read the script that we just heard from him?
Yeah, we didn't have...
They wanted to be part of this project.
They did want to be part of this project, yes. Yeah.
Tell me about why you think that's important. They want to be part of this project, other than the fact that it's a good film directed by, you know, an acclaimed professional.
Well, because it tells the truth. Isn't that what art is about?
I hope so, yes.
Yeah, and it's, since we haven't learned much from history, obviously, hopefully we'll We will through art, and it will start maybe some dialogue that really we haven't had a chance to begin. And the same way that we all joined and we all worked for the same idea, maybe there is a good chance that it will happen on a much bigger level in ex-Yugoslavia.
This is a scene from the film. This is where you are playing General Nebojša? Who was the character? Nebojša. Talking to your son. Here it is. Roll tape.
Ova zemlja je natopljena srpskom krvlju. I sad bi oni da živimo ovdje s njima, po muslimanskim pravilima, u muslimanskoj zemlji.
Prepoznajem ljude. Nekad upadnem u kuću i prepoznajem njihova lica.
Oni samo se pretvaraju da su dobri susjedi, Daniel. Za vrijeme Tita skrivali su podmuklo lice i samo čekali priliku da razruše Jugoslaviju i da nas napadnu.
Ja sam srpski patriot, ali tu ne moram da sumnjaš.
Jesi li? Što onda sumnjaš u naše metode?
A ti misliš da će svijet da ignoriše ovo? Ja ne. U JNA će već poslali svoje trupe u Hrvatsku. Oni neće okrenuti leđa sem ovome.
Ma naravno da sve vide. Ali neće nas napasti, neće učiniti ništa. Oni znaju da smo mi pravi partneri za pregovore. Trebaju nas. Neće napadati. Osokoli svoje ljude i dovrši ovaj posao. Nemoj da sumnjaju u tebe.
A ti, oče?
Ja sam Boga bio posumnjao.
There is a relationship between the father and the son,
Yes.
and the sense of what this war is all about.
Yes, as I told you, he want to make revenge, actually, because during the Second World War, what we have in this film, a lot of his family, got killed by Nazis, Muslim Nazis, in the Second World War, and so nowadays, when this war started again, he just feels that now it's his time, his way to make revenge, and he doesn't believe to Muslims. And it's something, it's some trauma from his childhood, and it's something with the fact with which this man lived for whole his life. And somehow I'm sad because of his of him. Can you imagine to live 60 years with these stories,
And I think that's a very important thing we tried to say, that this isn't it's not black and white. And I think some people would love to see, sometimes people that are have their opinions would love to see from this black and white. These are the good guys, these are the bad guys, and the bad guys have no humanity and make no sense.
It's not right.
He has rationale, whether it makes sense to you or not. His mind has been formed by his family, by his history, by his country, and he believes this, and he also loves his son, and he's a human being. And he has his own, and somehow he is making sense of this violence for himself. And that is the thing that is important to study, because that is the reality. It is not simply that there are good guys and bad guys. It's much more complicated.
Right, but listening these words, it's also one thing important to say about this. He said, when son asked him, what about American? American will negotiate with us.
Right.
And he said, yes, they will. But they were waiting 4 years.
Yes.
That they do something, and 4 years these people were, in a war, killing each other.
Because what he says is right. They're not going to fight us.
Yeah.
All right, take a look at this. This is a conversation between Nadezhda and you. Here it is. Roll tape.
Ima, kako nema. Imaš prelijep osmijeh.
Hvala.
Nikad te nisam pitao. Šta si ti bila prije rata? Čim si se bavila?
Htjela sam biti slikarka. Možda sam bila slikarka. Jedna mi je slika izložena u Sarajevskoj gradskoj galeriji.
U galeriji, stvarno?
tell me what the theme of this is. In other words, if someone came to you and said, so what is, I hear you, I'm listening, you know, I know what you've done. What are you saying in this film? Or you just simply want people to understand and experience
Well, I think
that that took place?
I do want people to remember this time in history and understand it and get to know these people from the region and learn about it. But it's universal. The themes of it are universal, and what the film was intended to be was a study in human beings and how war takes its toll on human beings. And what it does to humanity, and how it warps people, and how it changes people, and this is why when we talk about intervention, or you know, what to do when there's something going on right now in the world, the longer we wait. So the idea was, as you're watching this movie, you're watching it, and you should be sitting in your seat thinking, "Will somebody please stop this? Can this please stop? Oh, please don't go any further. Oh, don't do that. Oh, stop it, stop it, stop it," because that's what. That should help people to understand, you know, and connect to when we talk about intervention and we talk about war and we talk about it's human beings, it's people, it's families, and to kind of put a human face on it to understand the importance of it, because this film is really just about many people and how they are in the beginning of the film and how the war changes them.
Yeah, I really liked what you said today about how it's almost about like a love story that never happened, that couldn't happen, and I think it's something that everyone and anyone from anywhere can relate to, for different reasons, and especially for us, it's so important because there were, you know, our lives were forever changed, and we were all living normal lives, and I was playing tennis, and my mother, you know, trying to teach me how to draw. Architect's daughter is not able to, you know, just problems that are everyday, small, minor, beautiful things. And then suddenly, it's all gone. You don't have a home, you don't have your house, you don't have your loved ones, or you're terrified every day that you may lose them. And this is something that, for me, has changed my life completely, and for every Bosnian, no matter if you're in Sarajevo or outside, it's the safety that we'll never feel again.
The safety you will never feel again.
The safety, because we never thought it could happen to us, and it did. So it can happen anytime and anywhere. And which is why it's so important that things like this film are made, that it keeps reminding us, so that hopefully it won't happen again.
But it's also the story here is also that there are places in which there are not two sides, and genocide is an example of where there are not two sides, and where there is the imperative of someone saying we cannot stand for this.
That's right.
You know, that's also part of what you want to say.
Yes.
You know, and that we cannot stand by.
Zana does. We talk often about Srebrenica, and Zana does a project every year on Srebrenica, and this is something that you know, it was very important to. It's what finally compelled international intervention. I think it was the turning point.
Right.
And you know, did it have to go that far? Do we have to wait for, you know, when the rape numbers are at 5,000 and when it's not labeled genocide? This is what frustrates me about you know, we sit on Darfur and we say, well, is it genocide? Is it crimes? What are crimes of aggression?
Right.
Is it ethnic cleansing yet? Let's talk for another 7 months and let's figure out how to label it. And that's right.
That's right. I know that's the point. So tell me what's next in your lives.
Professional?
Yes. Or personal, whatever you'd like to tell me.
Now I'm shooting a film, Taken 2, with Liam Neeson in Istanbul.
Yes.
That's a new film of Taken.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm going
to...
to...
Oh, so the film that Liam made. He made a film called Taken. This is Taken 2.
No, it's Taken 2, yeah.
Yeah.
And
you play a bad guy, or
I played as usually bad guy in American films.
In American films,
right.
In American films, but then at home you're King Lear.
King Lear,
right. And then I'm going to Los Angeles for premiere. And my son has a film in Los Angeles. I play my part also in this. It's a Croatian candidate for best foreign film.
Very good.
Yeah, and that's enough. Then I have a Christmas evening to make bacala.
Yes.
My family.
You make good bacala?
I did it.
You did?
I do this,
okay.
yeah. Very good.
And where will you spend Christmas?
In Croatia.
Ah. And you? What now? Where do you go from here?
Well, first we go to LA.
Yes, I know.
Which will be very exciting. Well, hopefully to very many places, but first I'm going to Sarajevo. I co-founded an NGO with my friends, which is called the Warehouse Cabaret, because we like to think we have so many ideas. And we do have a lot of ideas. We're just trying to get them all out. So I co-founded this NGO, and we're trying to put on different shows and bring in different types of interactive art that was quite rare in Sarajevo, in Bosnia.
There is also, which I want to bring up before we go, the centrality of women to this story. This is a story about women as well.
It is, well, and I suppose I couldn't write it any other way than through the eyes of a woman.
Yeah.
So it is very much.
What happens to women in war?
Yes. It touches it absolutely the violence against women. This war was particular for that as well. I mean, it was used. Rape was used as a crime against women intentionally, and it changed the laws, and it's one of the strongest cases. So that is very much a part of the.
But as we said at this table in New York, rape is being used
in Congo, in America, everywhere.
Having done this, is it the film you made? Is it the film that you wanted to make?
It is when we all came together, and I feel that we together feel it's what we wanted to make. Alone, when I was sitting in the editing room and I finished, I set out to do. You set out to make a film that causes discussion, but you also want to be as balanced as you can, and you want to do right by all the people that had faith in you and put their trust in you, and it's their country. So I could never be the final one to say that this was right, but when we all came together and the cast said, this is right, then I felt at peace with it, yes.
Do you know what project you're doing next?
No.
That's a nice feeling,
I'm
too.
unemployed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to be back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck to all of you.